Am I live? Can anybody hear me? Do you have any gray poop on? Am I live? Okay. I should probably get a better video camera. Look at the mess behind me. I've got my keyboard over there and my nail polish down there that I don't even wear. I don't even wear makeup. I don't shave. That plant, when my grandma died, I inherited that plant, and that's all I inherited from my grandma. But hey, that's fine because she had no money. That's fine. And there's no family heirlooms because my family is not materialistic. So this is my tattoo that means be yourself no matter what they say, from a Sting song called Englishman in New York. And I was thinking about mostly what I do now is radio, because I'm kind of a shy, introverted person, even though I used to dance around naked on public access television from 1996 till 2011, and then I retired from doing my public access TV show, and now I mostly do a radio show. Every week I have a 1 hour long radio show on hollowearthradio.org. That's the website. And I also record randomly when I feel like it on Anchor FM, which is a smartphone app. This is my smartphone with pictures of me all over it. That's my artwork that I've created. For a while, I was feeling guilty, like I'm narcissistic, because people used to give me a hard time about how much content I created and how much of it has been self-portraits. I model for other people full-time for a living, and I also model for myself for fun, partly as a form of therapy because I'm shy. Why is it that my camera doesn't focus anymore? Is this part of the planned obsolescence? This is a Logitech webcam that's fairly high quality, at least it was a few years ago. Does anybody have any recommendations for a webcam that I should get that would be better for broadcasting, better microphone especially? I don't know why I swear this camera used to focus better than it does now, but that's the custom case that I had made for my phone. And I got my new 2020 calendar with Goddess KRING 2020, Shannon Kringen. Abstract art. This is the glass art that I made. A lot of self-portrait photos. Photo I took of plants outside. I don't know if that's really focused too well. Sorry about that lack of perfection of this webcam. I might get a better webcam. And then there's 4 self-portraits. I painted my face, Primal KRING. That's underwater. I photographed myself in the Bahamas underwater when I worked with a great photographer named Monty Knowles, who body painted me. Self-portrait. This is a painting I did, a viscosity print at Pratt Fine Arts Center here in Seattle. And then I took a black and white selfie and I superimposed. So this is a multimedia digital art piece. I'm going to be in a Lusty Lady alumni show in June of 2020 in Seattle in Pioneer Square. I'm excited about that. This is a selfie of black and white, inspired that I took, inspired by Marlene Dietrich and the old Hollywood. You know, I love these kind of extreme angles. So that's some of my artwork. And that's my calendar because my schedule is so complicated that I could never remember it. So, and I don't like having a digital camera, I love having a digital camera. I don't like having a digital calendar. I like to actually write things down on paper. There's enough digital in the world. So I was thinking about a friend of mine committed suicide over a week ago on Monday, January 13th, 2020. A person that I didn't know very well, but I will refer to him as a friend because we talked online quite a bit over the last few years until he killed himself. Very sad situation. I only met him once in person. I modeled for him. He was a very talented photographer. He had technical skills as well as artistic skills. And he worked with many, many, many models, beautiful, glamorous models, way more glamorous than me. I'm not glamorous. I'm more of an earth goddess, Viking, earthy, don't even wear makeup most of the time. I don't shave my armpits. I don't shave my pubic hair. I shave my legs sometimes. The older I get, the less hair I have anyway, and my hair's getting lighter and lighter and lighter the older I get. So that's fine with me, but I'm a very natural, earthy person. So he photographed me. Forgive me if I sound chaotic, like I'm going off on tangents. That's because that's what I do. I might be ADHD. I'm very compulsive. I might be a little bit autistic. I'm on a waiting list to find out. Not that it really helps for me to label myself. And I'm not saying that to put myself down. I'm saying this, I'm left-handed. I'm an only child. I have synesthesia, which means I see shapes when I hear music. Like in my head, I don't hallucinate, but I when I hear music or any sound really, even like the sound of a lawnmower or a bird or a plane or an animal, I see shapes. Like I associate sounds with vibrational frequencies of texture and shape and three-dimensional form. So I think of, forgive the glare of my glasses, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like I look better with them on. There, I'll just be more mysterious with my glasses on. I'll try not to have them glare so much. So, no, never mind. I can't figure it out. So, there it is. I don't put makeup on. I don't have any makeup on. And I modeled this morning for an art class where I got to sit on a platform with a taxidermy raccoon and two taxidermy, some fake skulls and skeleton and fabric and taxidermy birds. I don't know if they were ravens or crows. It was interesting. There was music played in the room that I'd never heard before. One of the things I love about modeling for art classes is that I get to hear music that I've never heard, new and different music. Because when I'm by myself, I mostly listen to Tom Petty and Tori Amos and Neil Young and Bob Dylan and Edie Brickell and things like that. But I also love classical and jazz, and I'm avoiding the mainstream news like the plague right now. I'm not into the drama. Drama, drama, drama. Fake is the new real, and real is the new fake. It's like reality TV gone mad, turbocharged. You know, it's kind of like drama, 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 drama. If you ask me, I would like Bernie Sanders to be the next president of the United States. And then after that, I would like to have Alexandria Oaks. How do you say her name? I need to memorize it. Sorry. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's my best shot at saying her name correctly. I love both Bernie Sanders and her. I like some of the things Susan Sarandon has said and why she likes Bernie. I agree with Susan Sarandon on that. I agree with John Cusack on loving Bernie Sanders. I agree with Dr. Cornel West on loving Bernie Sanders. So I love Bernie Sanders. And I am so sick of people telling me that if I vote for Bernie, I'm voting for Trump, because I'm not. And why do we have to be told what our opinions have to be? Why do we have to vote for the lesser of two evils? Why can't we vote for what we really want? If we had a real democracy, we would be able to vote for who we actually wanted, not the lesser of two evils. So Rosa Parks had the guts to, they said, black people can't sit in front of the bus, Rosa. You have to sit in the back. And she's like, no, actually, I can sit in the front. And so she did. So, like, we need trailblazers. We need people that will buck the system. We need people that are be yourself no matter what they say. We need trailblazers. If we never had whistleblowers or trailblazers, for one, we would still have slavery in this country. In the United States, we would still have black slaves. We would still have little 6-year-old kids working in factories. We would have no minimum wage. We would have no rules or regulations. We would not have the 40-hour work week. People would be working like 80, 90, 100 hours a week. There would be no rules and regulations. So we need some rules and regulations. We need people to fight for what's right. So are we ever going to have national health care, public service health care? So, okay, my friend killed himself. That's one thing. And I'm okay. I didn't know him very well, but I feel very sad for his family and friends and for himself. Although I'm happy, I have to admit, I'm happy that he's not suffering anymore. My friend who killed himself, I'm happy that he's no longer suffering, because he had financial stress. He had, I think, emotional challenges. and he had physical health problems he was trying to recover from, and medical bills, I think, but I'm not sure. So he had lots of problems, and he was trying to get a job and then trying to get unemployment, and then he tried to go back to school. And because our cutthroat capitalist, cruel, abusive American system, he wasn't able to go back to school, or he couldn't get unemployment because he was going back to school, but then he couldn't go back to school because he needed unemployment financially. And so it was catch-22. So it's like he couldn't work and yet he couldn't go to school. So the whole thing didn't work for him. And so he decided, you know what? I think I'll kill myself. That was his solution to his problems. And that's sad. I wonder how many Americans make the choice of committing suicide because of financial problems, because our system is so cruel and abusive. There's people who think that Americans are lazy and take advantage of the system. Well, our system is so mean. That's really not mostly the case. So I go to the food bank and I don't even desperately need it, but I do it because I want to stretch my budget as far as it will go so I can save more money. I got a frequent flyer mile credit card with my dad and we shared it, and my dad and I know how to milk it for all it's worth. What we do, because we're not dumb enough to go into debt with a credit card company, we get these stupid credit cards so that we can use them to buy everything, and then we pay off our bill 100%, because my dad and I are both very good at not getting sucked in to buying a bunch of crap that we don't need. So my dad and I both have a credit card that's frequent flyer mile credit card, and I do admit that my dad paid the $70 fee. He said he won't do it next year for me, but he'll do it the first year. So I'll probably just dump the card after the first year unless it's worth it, because that's a ripoff. But I only had to pay $11 to fly from Seattle to West Palm Beach, Florida, and back. Round trip, Seattle to West Palm Beach, to visit my dad in Florida, and I get to stay with him for free. So my holiday will be a 10-day holiday in Florida in March of 2020, and it will be $11. And then I'll pay for my food, unless my dad wants to pay for my food, and of course I'll let him do that, but I might have to pay for my own food, but whatever, that's fine. So 10-day holiday, because a lot of Americans can't even afford to take a holiday, and I luckily can, because I'm so cheap and frugal, and I work my ass off. I work constantly. I don't even need to work as much as I do, but I'm addicted to work. I love to work. In fact, when I have a day off, I don't know what to do because there's too many choices, but there's a lot of artwork. Like I need to do my art for the Lusty Lady alumni show in June of 2020 in Pioneer Square. I'm going to have a multimedia erotic art piece that's body, sexy, positive, about Shannon Kring and Goddess KRING, nude model. I used to dance naked at the Lusty Lady in Seattle from 1991 to 1993 until they laid me off because I gained weight. I think that's why they laid me off. I don't even remember, but that's a whole nother story. But this is my tattoo that I designed myself. It means be yourself no matter what they say. This is a hat that I found at the thrift store like 12 years ago for like $5. And it looks like something that I would design. I mean, my shapes are usually curvier, but the colors are similar to what I might use. So I've been wearing this hat constantly for years. My nose is running, forgive me. I feel like I need to clean my nose. Do I? Oh God, maybe I do. Forgive me. That was not glamorous at all. That was no glamour. I've been watching, okay, my friend committed suicide. I'm sad about that, although I've made peace with it because it was his choice. Let's admit, we all choose that. I've thought about it, but never attempted it. Hope I never do. I want to stick around until nature says it's time for me to go, which hopefully won't be till the year 2068 when I'm 100 years old. That's enough. 100 years on planet Earth is enough for me, if I can make it that long. So my friend committed suicide. I make you peace with that. If you feel suicidal, please reach out for help. Please call family, friends, talk to a stranger, call the crisis clinic hotline. There's a national crisis hotline if you feel suicidal. There's a local hotline in your area if you feel that way. I've called just to talk to anyone that would talk to me and just talk about my problems. There's always something else you can do. If somebody really wants to end their life, I don't know if anybody can really stop them, but if you at all want to stick around, you should really try to find some kind of support. Or if sometimes other people make me feel worse when I feel suicidal. So the best thing for me is to listen to Tom Petty or Tori Amos or sometimes actually watch a sad movie. If I feel suicidal, I can sometimes watch a depressing movie and it actually makes me feel better because I feel like everyone is like, you should be happy, 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 happy. It's not natural to be happy all the time. So what I like to do is watch a sad movie because I feel like it validates me. If I feel sad and I listen to a sad song or a sad movie, it makes me feel better because it's like the movie's telling me it's okay to feel sad. It's normal, in fact, to feel sad. This planet can be very painful. It's very complicated to be on this earth. So my friend committed suicide. I'm going to go visit my dad in Florida in March. Those are two very different things. I'm modeling for lots of medical students and art students. And when I say I model for medical students, it means that I role play. I act out being a patient for medical students, and they give me a script, and sometimes the students check my vital signs. They do head to toe exams. I act out aches and pains, and it's based on real cases, so the instructors know that the student should figure out what's wrong, and they know what the right answer is and what the right treatment plan might be. So it's fascinating to learn about my body and about medicine, and it's kind of like acting. It's role play, it's acting. I learn about my body and about medical treatment. I'm not a huge fan of mainstream medical treatment. I'm more a fan of nutrition and health and preventative medicine, and I'm less of a fan of drugs and surgery, although drugs and surgery save people's lives and they're a great invention. But I also think that nutrition should be emphasized for health. Whether you're having surgery and medication or not, you should also be implementing nutrition. That's my opinion on that. So if you feel suicidal, please reach out for help. That would be my advice, please. But sometimes I feel worse when I try to talk to somebody if I feel that depressed. So the best thing for me to do is just sleep. It's just be with my cat, go for a walk in the woods. I have to admit, when I see a dog or a cat, I don't feel as sad and depressed. It's hard for me to stay feeling really awful if I'm in the woods. If I'm in nature and I see little birds and like flowers and like grass and like trees, nature, just trees and birds and the whole ecosystem. And I smell the earth. I smell like the soil. I'm a very earthy, natural person. I'm a very sensual person. So if I just smell the plants and I listen to the ocean or the Puget Sound and I'm by the water, I usually feel like I don't want to die. I want to live. But what I want to do is get away from all the stress. When I feel like I want to end my life, it's not that I want to end to die. It's that I want to get away from the pain. And so to get away from the pain would be to be in nature and to get away from the city. In Seattle this week, we had 3 shootings just in the last few days. Really scary stuff, I think, downtown. And thankfully, I wasn't there. I'm sorry to anybody who was involved in that. That's sad and awful. And I also feel sad for the shooters. When there is a shooting, I don't just feel sad for the victims of the shooter. I feel sad for the shooter who ruined their life. Usually they end up getting killed by the cops, which is sad and awful for them and their family. I mean, imagine if somebody is the shooter, their family and friends are horrified that their friend freaked out and shot people. That's awful. So it's sad for the victims. It's sad for the victim. The actual shooter is a victim of their own mental health problems, their anger. They lost control of their anger and they flipped out and shot people, whether they're addicted to drugs or have mental problems, or they decided to express their anger in a very awful way by shooting other people. So when I feel sad about a shooting, I feel sad for everybody involved, including the shooter, because I don't think it's good to dehumanize somebody who flips out and shoots other people. They are a human being making a very bad choice, and they are ruining their lives. Usually they get killed or in prison, or they just feel terrible even if they get away with it and hide. I'm sure they don't feel happy about what they did unless they're completely sociopathic, and that's a whole nother thing, but that's scary in itself. So that's a sad human tragedy. So I'm Shannon Kring and Goddess KRING, and I'm in Seattle, and I'm sorry that I keep repeating myself, but I think I might be autistic, so that's my excuse. Now, my brain is total chaos. My apartment is total chaos. I work at 20 different places. I also made my shirt. I silk screened this shirt. I made this design and I silk screened it. It's a little bit crooked, but I silk screened this shirt. I designed this tattoo, and my artwork is on my phone and my calendar. So I do a lot of art, and I model for artists. And so my whole life is art. And then, surveillance capitalism. I was watching a documentary earlier today on surveillance capitalism. There's also one on Netflix called Hack It or Life Hack. It's all about how Google and Twitter and Facebook and all the huge corporations collect data from us. And they don't just use it to pitch us ads on services and products. They also use it to predict our behavior so that they can, it's more sinister basically than ads. You know, I notice if I look at certain things online, then I start getting ads. Like if I think about getting a new mattress, then I get ads for mattresses. And if I listen to lots of Tom Petty music, I guess I get ads for music, not necessarily Tom Petty. I wish. Just give me Tom Petty ads. That's all I want. If you're going to show me music, just be Tom Petty, Tori Amos, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, people like that, but whatever. Then again, I love hearing new music. So yeah, a lot of new pop music, though, I really don't care for. But I know there's always good music out there somewhere. So, okay, so whatever you do, see, and now I'm thinking the new rule for me, because I don't want to hide. I don't want to be like, part of me actually likes Amish. What Amish people do is pretty cool. Like I don't want to be Amish, but there's things about Amish people that I really admire. Like I like that they're slow. They believe in being humble and helping other people less fortunate than them. They don't think it's cool to show off and be competitive. They think it's cool to be humble and to have humility and to help other people and to be small and to not like show off and be a hot shot and win a contest. So it's the opposite of our culture. So there's things about Amish, and they're close to the earth. You know, they farm. A lot of them are barefoot and they're like working in the dirt. I mean, literally on the ground. That's actually very healthy to stand barefoot on the ground. It's very healthy. So I like that about Amish people. I'm not keen on their religious beliefs, but I am keen on being kind and loving and humble. And I don't wear makeup or jewelry. Well, this is like my hair tie. This isn't even jewelry. This is just my hair tie to put my hair up. But I don't really wear makeup. You can't really tell. I don't have any makeup on my face. Do you have any gray poupon? No, I don't have any makeup on. I have freckles. I don't cover them up. I don't have any, like, I don't have my necklace on right now. Ooh, that's a sunspot right there. Yeah, I don't have any jewelry. I don't shave my armpits. I don't shave my pubic hair. You know, I don't care if you shave or not. Who cares? But if I shave, I get a rash. So why would I want to shave my armpits and my pubic hair? I get a rash. It looks horrible, little red dots everywhere. I've been waxed. I've bleached my hair. I've waxed my hair. I've shaved my hair. And the last 20 years, I've just let it grow. And I model nude in front of people. So when I model for people, they get to see what it looks like for a woman to have natural armpit hair and natural pubic hair. I shave my legs off and on. I don't really have hardly any leg hair anymore. I'm 51, so I don't even have that much leg hair. But when I had leg hair, it wasn't very dark. But who cares anyway? If you have a bunch of hair in your legs, I don't care. If you're a man or a woman. If you're a man who wants to shave, shave. If you're a woman who doesn't want to shave, don't. You know, shave, don't shave. I don't care if someone is a man or a woman. Shave your head, let your hair grow, whatever. So I like being natural and I like being earthy, and it feels comfortable. I use coconut oil for my moisturizer. I don't buy a lot of products. I use unscented deodorant. I use unscented, what do you call it? Laundry detergent, unscented dish detergent. I use unscented products. I burn incense, but then I open my window because I want fresh air. I don't want, you know, too much incense in my apartment. But for my cat and my cat is on a health food diet. He's on a raw meat diet. So I'm really into health food. And so surveillance capitalism is that they're taking data from us. And so there's really no privacy online, especially if you're on social media. And I share all over social media. I'm on a bunch of different websites, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I have my own website, shannonkringen.com. I do a radio show called Goddess KRING Radio. I used to do a TV show called Goddess KRING for 15 years every week. And so I'm all over the internet. And so I don't want to disengage from modern civilization, but at the same time, I don't want my life to be about a bunch of ads and a bunch of marketing and a bunch of Ponzi schemes. You know, I want universal Medicare for all. I want Bernie Sanders to be president. And I'm sick of people telling me if you vote for him, then you're voting for Trump. And it's like, okay, I understand the logic of that. I understand that. But is anything ever going to change if nobody believes that we can change things? Like if Rosa Parks didn't sit in front of that bus and get arrested and whatever, you know, we would still have segregation today if we didn't have people standing up and trying to change things. So we would still have slavery today if we didn't have trailblazers and whistleblowers. So we need people to stand up for what's right. And to me, what's right is capitalism. Unregulated capitalism becomes its own kind of fascism because there's no regulation. So therefore, a company is allowed to charge somebody $1,200 for insulin and they will die without their insulin. Whereas if they're in Canada or Mexico or the UK, their insulin is a reasonable price that they can afford, if not free. It's very excuse me, it's very inexpensive and affordable. And if not, then they will find a way to get their insulin if they're in the UK. They will not die. Whereas in the United States, if you don't figure something out, you could die without your medication or go bankrupt. A lot of Americans go bankrupt because of medical bills. So universal health care. So with capitalism, the way it is now, corporations are allowed to rip us off and waste money on healthcare that's not even for healthcare. It's for price gouging and jacking up prices artificially. So we need a president that will fight like hell for universal health care, whatever it takes. Someday, I hope the United States can have universal health care. Now, it used to be that women couldn't vote. It used to be that black people, you know, were over here and white people were over here. It used to have segregation. We used to have slavery. We used to have little kids working in factories. You know, that used to be legal. So laws can change, things can change. And so people need to push for change. I love Marianne Williamson in that she ran for president as long as she did. I know nobody thought she could win. I wanted someone like her. To me, she seemed like she had common sense ideas. To a lot of people, her ideas seemed like just too like John Lennon-y or, you know, whatever. Martin Luther King. I mean, really, she was following in the footsteps of Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lennon. Her ideas are very wise and spiritual and high-minded and ethical. Bernie Sanders and Marianne Williamson, both of their ideas line up, in my opinion. So Bernie has a very different way of saying them than Marianne Williamson does, but I love both of those people, and I love Alexandria. So these are the people that I love, and I want to think for myself. I'm not going to march to the meat grinder. You know, watch Pink Floyd The Wall, the movie Pink Floyd The Wall, to know what I mean, like the whole fascism. Capitalism becomes extreme unregulated capitalism, like the kind we have here in the United States, becomes its own form of fascism. So we need democratic socialism or social democracy, whatever you want to call it, not the kind of socialism that oppresses people. Capitalism oppresses people the way it is now in the United States. If you work for $8 an hour full time, you can't afford rent in most cities. So that's crazy. So corporations are allowed to pay CEOs like $50 trillion an hour, and then $8 an hour to the entry-level worker. That's ridiculous. In other countries, there's rules against that. You know, there's a ceiling on how much you can pay. The way to afford to raise wages for poverty wage people is to lower the salaries of the extremely wealthy. And then you can raise, so then there would be a ladder. The way it should work in a democratic social democracy or democratic socialism mixed with capitalism, the way it would work would be minimum wage would be an okay wage, and then you would climb a ladder. Instead of it being 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour versus 300 or 400 or 500 or $6,000 an hour, because CEOs in the United States make way more than they do in other countries in proportion to the low-end workers. So there, under democratic socialism, there would be more of a ladder of wages. It would start off at 10 or 15 bucks an hour, and then it would keep going up from there gradually. It wouldn't be extreme poverty and extreme wealth with nothing in between. That's not sustainable because there's more crime. The more poverty you have, the more angry, stressed out people you're going to have. So to me, if you have a lot of poverty, then you have more crime, because angry, stressed out, poverty-stricken people that can't afford rent and end up homeless, they're not happy, they're angry. And because they're angry and sad, they might self-medicate, and then they can become addicted to drugs and alcohol, which makes them even more mentally unhealthy, because then they're sleep deprived. Because if you're on the streets, it's not safe to even go to sleep because people can steal your stuff. Imagine being sleep deprived. And then you're stressed out, and then you're addicted to something because you're trying to self-medicate to make yourself feel better. And then you become addicted, and then you become more angry and more upset, and then there's more likely to be more crime in a culture that has more poverty. So to me, more poverty, extreme wealth and extreme poverty equals more crime. That's my opinion. So my philosophy is that the way to lessen crime is to take away, I think Martin Luther King said that, listen to the concerns of your enemy instead of demonizing rich people or demonizing poor people or demonizing people in the Middle East or even demonizing rich white men. You know, we demonize now, our new thing is we demonize rich white men. I don't think all rich white men are jerks and mean and greedy, but some of them are. And I don't think that all poor people are any one particular way. There's poor people, there's rich people, there's middle class. And if we all dehumanize each other and judge each other, and we're afraid of each other and competing with each other, you know, the rich people are afraid of the poor people are afraid of the rich people, or jealous or competitive or whatever it is, it's like that's more crime. And so that just it breeds more fear and more crime. People talk about hatred. Well, what really is racism and what is hatred? It's fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of being poor. Rich people are afraid of being poor. Poor people are, I guess, not afraid of being rich, but poor people tend to judge rich people as being greedy and selfish and taking all the money. And then there's not enough money for the poor people. So it's kind of like people are afraid of each other. The rich and poor are afraid and threatened by each other. So I hope I'm still recording. Am I still recording? Is anybody listening to me? I hope somebody's listening to me. Yeah, it looks like I got a thumbs up. Thanks to whoever gave me the thumbs up. So I hope it's still recording me. It's 32 minutes in. So thank you for listening. My name is Shannon KRING, Goddess KRING. So my friend killed himself. I'm going to Florida. I'm just catching up with you guys. Surveillance capitalism is on my mind. Regenerative agriculture is on my mind. I have a 2008 smart car with 91,000 miles, and I might switch my car, but I'm still going to drive it as long as I can. I kind of want to just keep my car as long as I can before I switch. I'm not super materialistic. It's my first car. I only started driving 8 years ago. So my next car might be some kind of a Toyota, like a used Toyota that's in really good shape, because my insurance will be lower. I don't want to pay tons of money for insurance. Why should I do that? So I don't want to get a new car, and I don't want to get I want to get a good deal on a car that's going to last 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles. A lot of people say Toyotas are those, like Toyota Camry, Toyota Corolla, Toyota. I don't know if the Yaris last as long as those other Toyotas I just mentioned, or maybe some kind of a Honda. But then I heard that Honda, after 150,000 miles, the pistons go, and whereas Toyotas engines last a lot longer. The transmissions and the engines of Toyotas last longer than Honda. With less maintenance, but probably both Hondas and my smart car, though, is pretty good, but it's really expensive to repair. The problem with my smart car is a little tiny smart car, and I feel totally safe driving it, by the way. It does well in crash tests, and I'm also a very good driver, offensive and defensive driver. My dad taught me how to drive really well. Don't trust anybody, and look out for people, and don't assume anybody is going to actually follow the rules. You know, you got to be on guard at all times, 360 degrees. Don't tailgate. Leave space behind you. If someone is tailgating me, I get away. I change lanes. I get the fuck away from them. Pardon my language. So if somebody is following me too close, I just get out of that lane and just let them, do what they're going to do. But so I'd like to keep myself safe when I drive. So I love my little smart car, but I have to take it to the European mechanic because it's a German car. It's basically made by Mercedes-Benz, but it's really made in France because it's by Renault and Mercedes. So I just wanted to say thank you for listening, and I have all these things on my mind. Going to Florida, my friend committed suicide. May he rest in peace. Rest in peace, William, the very talented photographer that I met once. I'm so sorry that you decided to end your life. but I respect your choice because I think he thought long and hard about it, probably for years. I don't know, but I didn't know him that well, but I'm sad that he did that. But then again, I respect that that was his choice. And so I release him with love. I release you, William, with love. Rest in peace, William, who took your own life last week. So January 13th, 2020. Rest in peace. I set you free. And so please, anybody that is feeling suicidal, please reach out for help, family, friends, call the crisis hotline, talk to anybody you can, spend time with your cat or your dog. It helps me when I feel suicidal because I've never acted on it. I thought about leaving the planet, but I've never acted upon it. I'm just being honest about my feelings. I sometimes feel like I just want to escape. And so the way I can escape is listen to Tom Petty, watch a movie, take a bath, take a shower, have some tea, eat some chocolate, go for a walk. It helps me if I'm with my cat or my dog. When I see people walking their dogs, it's really hard to feel suicidal when I look at a dog. Dogs look so happy to be alive. They're sticking their tongue out and they're looking all like enthused about being alive. I mean, dogs are adorable and I love animals. So I volunteer at the zoo. I love to smell the animals. I mean, literally, it sounds weird, I know, but I like to smell the the cows and the donkey and the sheep and the rhino and the giraffe and the Arctic fox and what's that called? The red-maned wolf, which smells like a skunk. The smell of animals make me feel happy. It reminds me that I'm part of nature because humans, we get so caught up in our screens, you know? And one thing I like about being an art model is it's so simple. It's just me naked with nothing. I don't need to charge anything up. I don't need a device. It's just, well, I have a timer sometimes, but usually other people time me. But it's just me, and then they draw with like pen, with charcoal and paper, and so it's like ancient, like they've been doing this hundreds of years. So it's nice to model for people. No digital things required for that. It's analog, so it's classic. It's simple. It's it's natural. I like it. I like the simplicity of being an art model in that way. It's very physically demanding and uncomfortable at times. Physically, you have to have a lot of stamina to hold still or to do action poses. Um, but I love it overall, and I've done it for like 28 years. So yeah, in fact, I have to get ready to go right now. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you for listening. I hope this recorded me. I think it did. So this is Shannon Kring and Goddess KRING. I have a radio show on hollowearthradio.org every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. here in Seattle. I also do Anchor FM, which is a smartphone app that I use, and I just randomly, if you just Google Life of Shannon Kring, you'll find links to that. It's just random. I recorded one today. And then I also archive on Patreon and Mixcloud. And I have music on Bandcamp. It's all free. You can freely download MP3s of my music and poetry. And I just share a bunch of stuff. I'm kind of an introverted, shy person in a certain way, and yet I want to share with people in this way. What I mean is that I don't have a real active social life with a bunch of friends. I just don't. I have a boyfriend, creative writing group, and I model for a bunch of people. But I don't like I live by myself with my cat, and I like it that way. Hey! Photo, William Allen Photo Guy. Thank you for saying hi, because I wasn't, so the audio is okay. Hopefully you can hear me. So I do all these different things, and I'm like introspective, and yet I've always wanted to express myself. So I feel like shy, and yet I like to share. It's kind of weird. So, because I kind of like to just go off by myself and be by myself. And I love living alone with my cat and my houseplants. And yeah, I have a boyfriend I see a couple times a week, but I don't want to live with him. I don't know. I like living by myself. It's for many reasons. So I need my space. It's like my woman cave. You know, they usually say man cave. Well, it's my woman cave. So there it is. So I better go get it ready for another modeling job. So I'll share. So yeah, check out my radio podcast, Thingy McJaggers, if you want, monologues, random poetry and music, and just, my advice though is to think for yourself. And if you feel suicidal, please try to find some help if you want it. Because it is everyone's choice if they're going to stay here or not. But I would like to think that people I care about would stick around and try and find something that you love. Whether it's, to me, just looking at a tree makes me feel better. If I just touch a tree, they say if you touch, and sounds, silly, but if you touch a tree, there's energy in that tree. And if you're barefoot on the ground, there's energy in the earth. And we are electrical beings. And so if you touch the earth, that might make you feel better. If you have a lot of anxiety or depression or irritability, or you're freaking out or whatever, because a lot of people are freaking out lately, it seems to me. My friend killed himself. There's been 3 shootings in Seattle in the last few days. There was 2 muggings in the U District here in Seattle, near 5 miles from where I live. I model there sometimes around the area where there was the 2 muggings. So I'm a little freaked out about that because it's been happening in the daytime. Usually that happens late at night. So it's a little scary. I think there's lots of angry people out there that are doing violent things, and it's frightening. And so I think a lot of people are really upset right now and stressed out. Modern civilization is pretty stressful. So my advice is spend more time in nature. It helps me if I'm with my cat, a dog, a cat. I volunteer at the zoo. Walk barefoot on the grass, even though it's cold right now and rainy. I've been going outside every single day and walking barefoot on the grass, even just for 5 minutes, because then my feet get cold. And then I come in and warm my feet up and I feel good. Like, I love being barefoot on the grass. It feels really good. So, and I love nature, and it just smells good. The plants and the animals, there's oxygen. It's like, it's a good thing. So, or listen to music, burn some incense, drink some tea. There's so many things you can do if you feel like you want to escape the pain that you feel. There's got to be something. Write a poem. If you're angry, write an angry poem instead of actually hurting yourself. Write, something. Get it out of your system, and then burn it. If it's really violent, then just write a bunch of horrible things and then burn it. Let it go. Some like therapy for you right there. So, okay. Thank you for listening. Have a good night or day, everyone. Woo! Okay. Check out oh, thank you. Thank you for the feedback, because it's good to know that my microphone works, because I know this webcam is not so great. I got this webcam years ago, and I think I should get a better webcam. Thank you for saying that. And yes, so I will record again whenever I feel like it. I'm trying to be more active because of this surveillance capitalism thing that I've been thinking about. Now I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to be a passive victim of the media. I want to create more media to try to generate more homemade. I'm just thinking for myself. Hopefully I'm not being manipulated by Google right now, or is Facebook and Google manipulating me into saying what I'm saying? I don't think so. I certainly hope not. I want Bernie Sanders to be president, and I'm not going to let anybody scare me into thinking that I'm not allowed to try to get Bernie in office, or somebody like him, or push for universal health care, no matter who the president of the United States is, even if the crazy guy that's there right now, who I don't really admire very much at all. The only way in which I could resonate with any of the fans of Mr. Donald is the idea that he's a rebel. The idea, but I see him as just being, a typical greedy American. I don't see him as a unusual rebel, other than he has the audacity to break all the rules. I can see how people might think, oh, he's a rebel. He's a rebel, But to me, a good rebel is like Martin Luther King Jr. That's a good rebel. Or John Lennon, or Yoko Ono, or Cornel West, or Bernie Sanders, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Forgive if I still don't say the name right, but I love Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I love Bernie Sanders. I love Marianne Williamson. I admire any trailblazer, whistleblower kind of person that's trying to help those less fortunate and help those who are oppressed, especially by capitalist, cutthroat capitalism, dog eat dog, mean capitalism. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur and wanting to make lots of money. But if you do that at the expense, if you pay your people $7 or $8 an hour and then the CEO gets $10,000 an hour, I have a problem with that kind of greed. Nothing wrong, again, with being a wealthy entrepreneur who wants to make money. If you dump toxic waste into a river just so you can make money, that's not okay. But if you're a corporation making a lot of money, that's great, but you need to pay your taxes and you need to pay your people fair wages. That's what I have to say about that. So ethics. We need ethics in the United States. Like Marianne Williamson was saying, capitalism with a conscience. And then people laughed at her for saying that. But it's, to me, capitalism with a conscience would mean, because extreme socialism and extreme communism and extreme capitalism don't work. They're all too extreme in one way or the other. So if you take, I believe in hybridization. If you take free market capitalism and you mix in democratic socialism or social democracy, then you get something like what they have in Scandinavia, which is there's freedom in, like I went to Norway, and there's entrepreneurs in Norway. It is harder to get rich in Norway than it is here in the United States. It is, but they have universal health care. So, you know, there's better education. There's more affordable education in Norway, and there's more affordable healthcare in Norway. So the standard of living is higher in Norway, and it's harder to get rich. But does everybody just want to be rich? Like, I resent that I'm told that my goal in life should just to be rich, rich, rich. Everyone's supposed to just want to be rich. Like, the American dream is just to be rich. That's not my American dream. My American dream is to have basic things like healthcare, to be healthy and happy. And I'm fine with someone wanting to be an entrepreneur, but there has to be basic human rights like fair wages and universal health care. And so that's why I agree with what Bernie Sanders says. I agree with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on most of the things I've ever heard her say. I believe in, again, I already said Marianne Williamson. So, okay, there it is. So that's my thoughts. But I think everyone should think for themselves and don't just regurgitate. Don't just watch the news and regurgitate what they tell you that you're supposed to think. Think for yourself. Question everything. Listen to Krishnamurti. He's a guy from India that I like. My mom raised me on Krishnamurti, and I like Eckhart Tolle, and I like going within and listening to your own heart and soul and doing what feels right to your heart and your soul. Unless you're a sociopath. You know, if you're a sociopath, you can't really trust yourself. But I think most people are not sociopaths. You know, to dehumanize people is dangerous. Look at the Hitler and the Jews. The whole Holocaust happened partly because a whole group of German people were persuaded to dehumanize Jewish people and to think that Jewish people were a threat. That's really scary. So if we dehumanize immigrants or we dehumanize people in the Middle East, and if people in the Middle East dehumanize Americans and think all Americans are violent, or all Americans run around with guns and want to hurt people and think they're better than everyone else. See, that's not good. See, if you stereotype Americans or you stereotype people in the Middle East, you stereotype Jewish people, you stereotype rich white men, even rich white men. If you demonize rich white men, that's not a good thing to do. It's not going to help the world. So to dehumanize anyone is not a good idea. So that's more thoughts on that. So, okay, glad I got that off my chest. I'll see you next time. Bye. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING. Look at my art if you want, shannonkringen.com. Just Google my name and you'll find whatever. There's all kinds of stuff. And I encourage you, if you have a webcam or a microphone, start sharing. It's fun. Yeah. Okay.